Hi guys, welcome back. This is Black and Silver Nomadic, and welcome to our first video from our travel guide series. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about our stay in eastern Tennessee.
In this video, we're going to tell you all of our favorite attractions in Knoxville and the surrounding areas.
Stay tuned, all that and more is coming up next.
Roll the intro!
Knoxville is it's pretty spread out. There's more than just downtown, and there's quite a few different districts that we want to go over because some of them aren't exactly places that they're going to tell you to visit when you're there. We'll start out with downtown though. That's probably the first thing that you're going to check out, like what we did when we were there. What's cool about downtown is it's situated right on the Tennessee River, so it's very beautiful. There's a few bridges. At night it's lit. It's pretty city at night, you know. We're used to Pittsburgh and that from Pennsylvania. Beautiful cityscape. This isn't quite that, but it's quite beautiful at nighttime.
And one of the first things on our list to talk about, and you can't go to Knoxville without seeing it, hearing about it, or anything like that, is UT itself.
Go Vols! Anytime you're even in the South. I mean, we're in North Carolina now. That's all we see is Tennessee stuff everywhere. Go Vols! Vols for volunteers. People don't realize, but Tennessee is actually very big on colleges. UT is a big one, but then you have, if you go over to Nashville, there are so many colleges in Nashville. Very big on collegiate education there, and when you're driving around UT, you'll notice that some of the frat houses are more beautiful than some of the nicest homes you've ever seen in the country. It's pretty incredible. But overall, the campus is gorgeous. Very nice, wide sidewalks. Everything's well maintained. Lots of parks. Great places to go sit, have lunch, have a picnic. And just what I liked is it's all well lit. So I would take the dogs to walk quite late at night. You know, you can feel comfortable walking around campus. And that campus is intertwined with all of downtown Knoxville. So if you're trying to get places, walk through campus. It's beautiful. It's a really nice spot to enjoy. The next thing, too, that's kind of situated, this is a little bit away from campus. This is kind of like... It's
a little more closer to, like, Market Square
area. Down from there, kind of going towards... World's Fair Park, which we'll get to. There's the firehouse for downtown, which, you know, it's silly to bring up a firehouse, but it's kind of cool. I would take a walk down there. It's a really beautiful firehouse, and they actually have a little outside display where they have one of the original Knoxville, Tennessee fire trucks. So it's like a horse-drawn carriage style fire truck. Very cool. Very interesting to see. They have some historical documents and that in there, as well as some of the old fire equipment. So just kind of a neat little thing to check out.
Sorry to interrupt your video, but we wanted to remind you to check our Amazon list. While we're out enjoying the beautiful places, we're trying out a number of awesome products. As full-time reviewers, we're putting these products to the ultimate test to let you know where to best spend your money. We only recommend the best products and one we've tested and paid for personally. We thank you for checking out our list. Buying through our link costs you nothing more, but it helps to support us and makes you more content. Now, back to the video.
The next thing that we should talk about is World's Fair Park.
Yeah, World's Fair Park is actually really interesting. When you come into the city, you won't miss it, is the Sun Sphere. The Sun Sphere is in World's Fair Park. It was built literally for the World's Fair, and it just never left. So it was built for the World's Fair in 1982.
It doesn't really have a purpose. It was just kind of built to commemorate.
To commemorate the World's Fair. And Knoxville is very, very proud of its Sun Sphere. It actually just recently reopened while we were there for people to go up into the tower. It used to just be office space. You used to be able to visit it, and then it turned into office space, and they had closed it down, and now they recently reopened it to tour inside, so you could go up inside and look out.
And what's super cool is, oh, the coffee maker's shutting off. What's super cool is my mom actually went to World's Fair Park for the World's Fair in 1982 with my grandmother on a Girl Scouts trip. This was one of there's only a couple World's Fairs that were held in the U.S. and this was one of them. They felt that Knoxville was a very up-and-coming area at that time. And, you know, it has grown a lot since then, but I don't think it exploded quite like they expected it to. But yet, it still was the where they held the fair in 82. And like I said, my mom went. So what was cool is when we were there, we actually brought my grandmother that had taken her. And she got to see the Sun Sphere, you know, 40 years later after it was built.
To the day, actually.
Yeah,
to the day.
Yeah, was that exact week?
It was the exact week.
That was crazy. They had banners up down on some of the main streets, so that was kind of cool.
And the other thing with World's Fair Park, they do have an amphitheater that's kind of situated in the water. And it's really, really neat. They have, like, small concerts there. Like, the orchestra will sometimes play there. The festivals kind of are centered around there. So it's just really, really cool because it's...
You can even find local artists, like, at night just down there singing for no one in particular. It's kind of a beautiful park. You'll see a lot of people utilize it for walking the dogs and things like that. But again, a well-lit area. Most of Knoxville downtown is well-lit and paved. So if you're looking for a place to go, you know, exercise in the evening, just take the dogs for a walk, go for a stroll after dinner or something. That's the nice thing is the weather's usually pretty mild there throughout the winter. So it's kind of nice to take a little walk after dinner. And everything's pretty accessible. Knoxville downtown, you certainly have to drive to some of these other places we're going to talk about, but as far as being able to get a bite to eat, go for dessert, go grab a coffee or drink afterwards, all of these places are within walking distance. So what we tended to do is we'd park in Market Square Garage and just walk pretty much everywhere because it was a max of 10 blocks.
Yeah. Pro tip when you're visiting Knoxville, if you want to go downtown, Market Square Garage is like the ticket for parking. It was a great place for us to park.
And it's free after a certain hour, right? It's great because they'd open the gate. So as long as you stay downtown long enough, it's an excuse to get a drink. But if you do leave, it was only probably a couple of dollars maximum anytime we stayed. And there were actually a few times where there were events downtown that filled up that garage. Don't worry, there's plenty of other garages. Just look around. Some of them are within a block of Market Square Garage. So, moving on, I guess that brings us to Market Square. That's kind of the spot. If you see things about Knoxville, places to visit, this is the spot they're mostly talking about. And it's not as huge as what you're going to expect, but it's a pretty nice little square. Basically, Market Square is it's kind of a bridge between two streets, but it's all shut down as a big patio. They do actually have markets here on Saturdays. We never got to go to one, actually.
No, they didn't really
you were always
in the
working.
wintertime or something, but...
And you were always working Saturdays.
In the wintertime, they do turn the market, kind of the middle portion of Market Square, they shut that down and it gets turned into an ice skating rink.
They did have the skating rink. Yep. And, you know, the Market Square is open to dogs. That's the great part. You can go downtown and walk that. There's some beautiful little gardens and things at the end with some artwork. It's real nice to walk through that area. But for the actual market, because of the sale of food, they do shut that down to dogs, so you won't want to bring them downtown for that. But pretty good parking because of the parking garage. This is the spot where all the restaurants are that most people are going to recommend in Knoxville. So we'll get on to that a little bit later. We have a separate video to talk about some of our favorite restaurants because we definitely had a few there. But definitely a cool spot to check out. There's some boutique stores down there. There's actually a nice dog store around the corner from the Oliver Hotel.
There's a beautiful wedding dress shop.
Mm-hmm. There's an Urban Outfitters and a few other like boutiques, and then around the corner there's actually a nice oil store that we love. Has awesome oil and balsamic. It's called Tree and Vine, and they're fantastic. If you want to get good quality olive oil, they are the place to visit. That's Tree and Vine in Knoxville. That's pretty much it with Market Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a awesome spot, and what's great is all of these things, like I say, are within a block or so of one another. So that leads us to Gay Street. Aside from Market Square, Gay Street is kind of like the main drag of Knoxville. Mm-hmm. It's where all of your historic theaters are and everything. And that's one block from Market Square. So if you're in the garage and you walk to Market Square's strip right behind it, you walk a block further, you're right on Gay Street. Now, Gay Street, the main portion, is going to be right adjacent to Market Square. We have several historic theaters. This is a Tennessee theater, which is gorgeous. We saw Tom Segura there, and we were just so happy to go to the theater. Love Tom, but we were very excited to get to go see that theater. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the Bijou for Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and that theater is also very beautiful. Not quite as beautiful as the Tennessee, but it's also a lot smaller, and the seats are much bigger. It was more comfortable than the Tennessee theater is a little cramped.
Yeah, it is.
And it's pretty big. The Bijou is just more comfortable for a concert, I felt. And then moving on, there was Mass General Store, which is a fantastic store. They have a lot of good, like, Tennessee items. They sell lodge cookware. They sell a lot of boutique-y items.
Yes. Shoes,
mm-hmm.
Clothing, any sort of souvenir that you would possibly want. Barrels of candy that you can buy them at a pound. Toys.
Oh, if you know Charles Chips, they actually sell those by the big tin like they used to back in the day. But Mass General Store has their own clothing line, too. And they make some pretty nice Tennessee clothes. They have the different national parks and so on them. And then downstairs is kind of where you get to the brand name camping stuff.
Yeah. Camping and hiking and knives. And...
Mm-hmm. What else was on Gay Street? There was there's good hotels.
Yeah, great hotels.
Quite a few restaurants.
If you follow Gay Street down far enough, there's theaters and stuff along the way. But if you follow it down far enough, you almost get to the Tennessee River. And
basically past the Bijou.
Right.
The Bijou's kind of down over the hill too.
And there's going to be like about three blocks that are full of a lot of history stuff. And one of them is the Blount Mansion. This will be on the left side of Gay Street, and it's the home of the first governor of Tennessee.
And when you see it, you're not going to be like, wow, that's a mansion.
It really doesn't look it.
When you read the signage and whatnot, you can understand how long ago this was built. And it's interesting, it was very well kept. And they've restored a lot of it. Mm-hmm. The yard they talk about was one of the biggest of its time, and it's actually managed by the Garden Club downtown. It's a pretty cool place. You can actually go tour it. I don't believe we never got a chance to go inside, but we did get some pictures outside and check it out. And again, it's right on the river, so a real pretty place. And then right to the right of it, across the street, you have what used to be the Tennessee Capitol building, which then through the Civil War was used as a Civil War hospital, and now it's just like a DMV. They basically use it for pictures for driver's license, and different like city works stuff is in there, different offices. But that was back when Knoxville used to be the capital of Tennessee before they moved it.
Right. And there's a lot of statues outside of the building, commemorative, there's just a lot of history.
Different war heroes and whatnot, yeah. So then across the way, you'll notice there's a huge brick structure, but you can actually walk through it. It's kind of open. There's some nice gardens and spots to eat lunch and whatnot. This is actually the, what's the name of it? It's the
Howard H. Baker Jr. Courthouses. And it's just like literally a
Yeah.
a courtyard of courthouses.
And it's funny, you look around and like one's bankruptcy court, one is like divorce
Common
court,
pleas,
common
like,
pleas.
It's just there's like all sorts of courts in this one block.
And actually,
space.
there's a federal court in there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a pretty building. It's actually really nice to walk through. And that's like, I think my favorite part of Knoxville is the architecture's great. You know, you can walk anywhere in downtown and truly appreciate the buildings. They really keep the town nice. And there's a lot of openness to it. So you don't feel like you can't check things out. And that includes, you know, you go up on the hill, there's the Methodist church is gorgeous. And during the day, they have it all open. And you can
just walk through.
Walk right through, yeah. See the gardens. It's a beautiful church. And, you know, they almost encourage people to walk around. Just don't park there. They are big on not parking in private spots. So,
yes.
But there's plenty of garages. Just make sure you're in the right place.
One of the other things, you know, we're hitting on just a few of the things that we saw and did while we were in, like, the downtown area. There's art everywhere. There's artwork down alleys. There's sculptures.
Another thing, too, I forgot to mention is UT. There's the main section of UT with most of their main buildings. You have the student center and whatnot. But then there's kind of another section. It's called UT on the Hill. And it looks like a big, beautiful church. There's some real beautiful buildings up there. Great place to go walk around. It's actually called something Landing. It's I'll have to look that one up. But we actually have that review on our TripAdvisor. So if you want to check that out. Volunteer Landing. That's where it is. It's after the Vols. So check out Volunteer Landing while you're there. That's kind of part of UT on the Hill. There's some real pretty like people walking bridges and just some great spots to walk around at night. They have that building all lit up, the main building that's up on there. It's just gorgeous. And that brings us to now getting into the surrounding areas. You know, like we've talked about UT a lot. UT also has the gardens down beneath. And that is down on, what's that road?
Oh, man.
No,
I
this
can't
is bringing back
remember.
memories.
We used to drive it all the time.
And this road like loops over to one of our favorite spots, which is called Bearden. Bearden's basically, it's just outside of Knoxville, and I'm talking like
the road is a pike.
Well, there's Kingston Pike, but then is that it?
Maybe.
It must be Kingston Pike. So Kingston Pike wraps around through Bearden. And Bearden is, you'll notice the edge of Bearden because that's where all of the UT frat houses and everything are, which, like I said, are gorgeous. So then you continue on through Bearden, and it's nothing but, you know, gorgeous homes.
Gorgeous.
You'll see some of the nicest homes in all of Knoxville right here.
With fountains and fancy cars and all kinds of stuff.
And some of them have gated driveways.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are actually within beautiful developments and little communities that are open to the public. And they have what's called a Greenway. I'm sure some of you are familiar. They're basically city funded walkways for everybody to go and exercise with their dogs or bike and things like that of that nature. Well, the one development that we really like is a two-way street with a divider in the middle, and that whole divider has a sidewalk down the entire middle of it. So you get to, you know, go walk in the morning, and this is totally open to the public. You see some of the most beautiful homes in Knoxville and exercise a little bit. One way, that was over 2 miles, actually, right?
I think the whole thing was like 5.
5 down and back, yeah. And there's parking throughout. There's parks that you can stop at within this development to go play ball with your dog. There's quite a few road bikers that would actually ride in this development and just do lap after lap. They'd go train every single day. This was a nice area too because there's some good shopping. The Fresh Market is there, which that was our first experience with the Fresh Market. Mm-hmm. We did most of our shopping there in Knoxville.
Yeah, that was our grocery store.
But then we also did some at Kroger. There's quite a few Krogers around. Those are more like a Walmart, and we like it because it's not a Walmart. You know, But they had more of the general everyday things. Unfortunately, with the fresh market, you can't find a lot of the everyday items like your dishwasher pods and things like that. So Kroger was great for that. There was also a really nice Ace Hardware down that road. And that was where our UPS store was too. We would get our mail down there. So it was all kind of in a nice spot. And one of our favorite pizza places was down there too, which we'll get to in the next video, in our restaurant video. So then Bearden continues down away from Knoxville. And this is kind of headed westward. And this gets into the Farragut territory, which there's just shopping galore. If you're not familiar with Belk, Belk is kind of like a higher-end Macy's. And there was probably 5 Belks on this drag, maybe one within every half mile or so.
Every big box store that you can think of is there. Every car dealership
you can
think of is there.
They had every
like
car dealership, and they were big. I mean, big. Like they had a lot of even British brands in that.
Mm-hmm.
What else did they have there?
They had some good restaurants there.
They had
too.
There's the Trader Joe's and like Whole Foods and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of restaurants were chains down there, but there are some good ones. Like there's a couple different local coffee shops. We weren't super fond of a lot of them, and they were kind of out of the way for us. But driving back to Bearden is only a few minutes away, so that was convenient. We could, I could drop Tessa off at work and go grocery shopping within a half a mile, and then head back to the campground. And Bearden made sense for us. Farragut was a little out of the way. Once in a while we needed to go down there, but not too much. And then the other place too that we spent a little bit of time, but mostly passing through to and from the Smokies, was Maryville. And it's written Maryville, but it's enunciated Maryville, and you'll see that's kind of a trend here in some of these southern places. You got to learn how things are enunciated by the locals right away. So Maryville was kind of a cute little town. We didn't do a ton there, but it's worth mentioning just because it's such a nice place. You got to kind of see it. They have a beautiful public library. It's just a cute downtown with some boutiques. It's older.
There's a college down there too.
Yeah, there is a college there. Actually,
so there is a campus there.
My sister Michaela has a friend who went to that college, actually. I forgot about that.
Yes, there is a college down there.
And then good restaurants, like a few little local joints. And that's pretty much Maryville. I mean, it's not too big. A few boutiques, a few restaurants. The one thing that we actually liked, and it's actually in the town of Alcoa, but this is right next to Maryville. We went to Black Horse Brewing down there, which I thought looked familiar. And I found out it's because they do ship over most of the country. They can all of their beer. And they had a little restaurant brewery there at the cannery. That was kind of a nice dinner. That's pretty much it for the areas surrounding Knoxville. Obviously, we did some more exploring in the Smokies and that. And we're going to tell you guys about that in another video. Because we did quite a bit, like, in the Smokies and Gatlinburg, and we want to tell you about that, but it would just get a little out of hand having it all in one, so.
And one other thing that we wanted to mention before we let you go, for our babies, you know how much we love them, right, Holly Grace? And so the dogs also got to enjoy Knoxville. Every time we drove through Knoxville, went to Knoxville, they always got to go to the dog park.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a super nice dog park, like right downtown is here, dog park is there. Like, it is very, very
It's close. Actually right at the end of Gay Street. So if you walk down Gay Street the other direction, there's a few other shops and things like that. PetSafe is a brand that you all probably have heard of. They make a lot of dog, what else do they make? They make a lot of the digless.
Yeah.
They do digless fences mostly. I know these guys have like the toothbrush bones, and they make all sorts of dog things. But they are a huge sponsor of dog parks within Knoxville, and they have tons of dog parks around Knoxville. But this one was our favorite. There's actually a small and a big dog park. These guys actually like to play in the big dog park because they like to play hard. But that was one of the nicest parks that we had gone to. And anytime we go back through Knoxville, it's super easy. There's parking right there on the street. We'll pull off, let the dogs run, go get dinner, and be on our way. And, you know, that's the fun part about going to these places is we learn how to travel through them. And if we ever get to go back, we know where to return to. And we're not wasting time, but we get to enjoy the place. And that's what we want you to do. When you only have a couple of weeks or a couple of days in a spot, we want you to be able to take the information we have from our months of being there and be able to enjoy yourself and really learn about these places. So, thanks for watching. As always, I guess we'll see you out there.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you ring that bell so that you can hear new content. We're going to have a whole nother video just on restaurants in Knoxville because we definitely love the food there.
Yes.
That was one of our favorite parts, and that's what we miss the most. So thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.